and then you have Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. That's the state of boxing.
Yeah, that's
right
crazy.
Let that sink in.
Jake
that's
Paul,
right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200. That is so nuts.
They go, the rehydration limit or something is 195. And he goes, wait, I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him. Yes. He recognizes that he's too big for him.
One thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan said the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight could get ugly. He warned that weight classes exist for a reason. Jake's size gives him a big edge, while Tank's skill and speed keep it interesting. But the mismatch could still make things risky.
My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromise in the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia. So it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in.
Joe Rogan keeps stressing how wild the size gap is. Jake Paul fights near 200 pounds, while Gervonta Davis has spent his whole career around 135. It's a massive jump that Rogan says could change everything in the ring.
It's happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight. And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves. And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Boxing purists and officials have blasted the matchup, saying the size gap breaks the sport's balance. Even with a catchweight or exhibition label, they argue this kind of mismatch wouldn't pass under normal rules.
He should beat Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
You don't think... Sorry, so... I thought we were all unanimous here. You think Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds. Gervonta Davis is very small. 5'5".
He's tiny, bro.
5'5".
That's what I'm saying.
Jake Paul,
he's a little man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up,
move on,
and absorbing punishment for walking forward, then look, there's a way to one.
Rogan says this matchup feels more like a show than real competition. 135 versus 200 is just crazy. He warns that with such a huge size gap, the power difference could be dangerous, no matter how skilled the smaller fighter is.
In boxing, so you got Canelo Crawford, you got Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, that's happening, and then you have Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. That's the state of boxing.
Yeah, that's
right
crazy.
Let that sink in.
Jake
that's
Paul,
right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200. That is so nuts.
They're all exhibitions.
None of them are.
They're exhibitions.
But what does that mean?
Just means you don't really. Nobody wins.
They're not. Right. It's kind of. I mean,
it's weird.
I don't want Jake to assume they're not. It's not like a real scrap. It's not real.
Really? So they're not trying to knock each other out?
No. Well, Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather don't like each other. They have not liked each other forever.
Tyson and Mayweather.
Yes.
But they like
Mike Tyson and Mayweather don't like each other. Huh. If there's a fight that might be real, Like where Mike Tyson might say, I'm going to knock this out, or I'm going to try to knock this motherfucker out.
It would be massive size gap. This fight's getting special rules. It's officially an exhibition, meaning it won't count on either fighter's record. They'll use larger gloves, fight at a 195-pound catch weight, and even have judges on standby despite it not being a sanctioned pro bout.
Fight, what weight would it be at?
195.
Oh, wow. So he would go all the way from 40 to 95?
Yeah, I mean, it would be an exhibition.
Okay. But, and so what does that mean? Is that 3-minute rounds?
Yeah, 10 3-minute rounds.
And when you say exhibition, like, what are the restrictions on that?
No restrictions, just the fact that like we couldn't actually get it professionally sanctioned.
Critics like Daniel Cormier have also weighed in, saying that while Gervonta Davis is clearly the more skilled boxer, the size gap turns this into more of a spectacle than a fair fight. Cormier pointed out that Jake Paul's physical advantage is simply too extreme to ignore, arguing that the matchup pushes the boundaries of what boxing should allow. He even questioned how a fight with such an obvious imbalance managed to get the green light from officials.
It's completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled, but this fight should not be happening. And the press conference was embarrassing. Gervonta Davis should not have a mic in front of him. It was absolutely embarrassing watching this thing.
D, why, D?
Just the fact that like every time when Jake Paul would say something to Gervonta Davis, he didn't know how to answer it. He was comparing himself to like P. Diddy at moments, and I was like, oh my God, get a mic away from this guy. This fight shouldn't be happening. And then he didn't even know what weight they were fighting. He's like, I thought it was 190, it was 195.
That was the craziest thing. That was the thing that stood out to me the most. Was that when they go, the rehydration limit or something is 195. And he goes, wait, I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him. Yes. He recognizes that he's too big for him.
Cormier also noted that modern fighters often cut extreme amounts of weight right before fight night, draining themselves just to make the limit. When that happens alongside a big size gap, the risks multiply. The smaller fighter faces a power disadvantage, while the heavier one can still struggle from the weight cut. In a matchup like Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, where Paul could rehydrate and step into the ring significantly heavier, that physical gap becomes even more dangerous.
It's the most dangerous thing in the world. With us, we would go on Thursday night. If I weighed 216 and I had to be 205 by Friday morning, I would get as low as I possibly could and then try to go to bed. So if I'd get to 207, I would hope that by the morning I'd be 206. I'd only have to lose a pound in the morning. So I'm dehydrated for 12, 13, 14 hours. Those guys today are going to bed at that weight, Joe, 10, 11 over, and waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and cutting the weight. Because they said if they cut all that weight, they don't sleep, which I can attest to. It don't matter how much melatonin you take, you're so dehydrated. You're not gonna get a good night's sleep. I think it's dangerous.
Why is it dangerous?
Because you have to cut 10 pounds in 4 hours. If you don't, you're screwed. Because the worst possible feeling, you expect to lose 8, but you might lose 6 or 5.5. And then you're like,
Cormier also questioned how the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight was even put together, saying the whole setup feels off from the start. He mentioned that during the press conference, even Tank seemed unsure about the official weight class, a small detail that, to Cormier, reveals how loosely organized the event is. In a sport built around strict weight divisions for fairness and safety, the confusion surrounding this matchup raises serious concerns about how it was approved in the first place.
Jake Paul. Yesterday, they had their first press conference. One of the most recognizable things is Jake Paul is huge compared to Gervonta Davis. And 2, Gervonta Davis don't even know what weight they fighting, D.
Maximum weight of 195 pounds for this exhibition.
It was 190.
The fight will be contested over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said it was 190.
The fight is 195 pounds, Tank, as you know.
DC, I watched this, and we have our priorities way misplaced when we're talking about boxing. Like, everybody's complaining about this Ali act and all. Like, how is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's
I don't know.
Completely unfair. It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled.
Coach Calvin Ford says he's staying positive about the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, but he's clearly uneasy about the safety setup. He admits the size gap is massive, but insists Tank chose to move forward. Ford's biggest concern is the glove issue, pointing out that 12-ounce gloves are made for training, not real bouts. He even suggested a middle ground, Tank in 8-ounce gloves, Jake in 10s, to even things out. But according to Ford, Paul's team refused any changes.
The concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s. So he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mixed match. It's supposed to be expedition. What's the matter? What, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these prescriptions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Tank don't really care, So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So again, he can wait at 10s and we wait 8s. Then we got to fight.
Even with all the concerns, Coach Calvin Ford insists the matchup is still manageable. He's seen Tank handle bigger guys in the gym before and trusts his ability to adapt. Ford also defends Davis's choice to face Jake Paul instead of going for a rematch with Lamont Roach. He explains that while the Roach fight made sense competitively, the Paul matchup offers far greater visibility and financial upside. According to Ford, opportunities like this don't come often, and Tank has earned the right to chase bigger stages when they appear.